Enigma here. Sorry for the delay on this deck profile. I was just kind of really trying to get this deck into what I wanted it to be. I've had the cards since they come out. I've been testing a lot and really just been trying to get into this deck a lot more than I previously had. Let's just kind of get right into the deck profile. So first, 3 researchers. I actually pulled the last one. I had 2 for the longest time, but I pulled the last one. I went to a local store during this whole pandemic and just went and got 4 packs. It was the last 4 in the store, so I was just like, I might as well just open them, and I was able to pull the last one. I was super happy about that. I wish I had filmed it, you know. So 3 researcher, 3 seeker, and then 3 analyzer. I'm going to make this deck profile and just for those who don't know anything about the deck or how to play with the deck and why the ratios are as they are. Researcher, Seeker, and Analyzer all special summon themselves if they have the requirements met for each one. So Researcher will special summon herself by if you control a rock monster, which is why she is the highest priced one. Seeker is if you control an Adamancipator monster. And Analyzer is the worst of the 3, but it still is pretty good. You special summon it if you control no monsters on your field and your opponent does. So it's kind of like a Cyber Dragon. And then they all have the same effect where you excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you have a rock, it will special summon it. But it can't be a tuner, and it has to be level 4 or lower. So those are the tuners, 2 level 2 tuners and a level 4 tuner. They're all earths, so rock is a very important part of this deck. So one card to look out for in the future going against this is there can only be one. It literally just shuts down this deck entirely. So yeah. Next, I play the 3 Dragites, the 2 Leonites, and the 2 Raptite. A lot of people don't like running these. They only run the 1 Dragite. It makes sense why they would, but I still like running them. I like seeing the rocks as soon as I can through the Analyzer and Seeker and Researcher's effects. The reason I'm not playing one of these, which I would be if this card didn't exist, would be Doki Doki. Doki Doki, basically, if you end up drawing one of these, and you can just summon it, let's say you have one of these in your hand, you can literally just Doki Doki, special, discard one of these 3, and you can special summon the other one from your deck. You don't need it in your deck anymore, and then you just end up going off with one of them in your hand. So Doki Doki is an amazing card in this deck. It's basically just like an extra level 2 tuner, but it's not a tuner. So, plus, some of the other earths in here can summon this one, or if you have 2 Doki Doki, you can discard a Doki Doki with a Doki Doki and get a Researcher or a Seeker. So it's a great card. Next, we play 3 Kakumeru Guardians. I was playing 2 Guardians and 2 Overload, but I was testing and I watched a lot of different people's reasons on playing different cards, and seeing this first is way better than Overload. Overload is more of just if you want to prevent your opponent from special summoning. This one's just monster effects, and I'd rather have monster effect negate than special summon negate, just in this instance where this deck is very reliant on special summoning. Next, 1 Black Dragon. 1's all you need. I don't like any variants playing more than 1 because it is searchable, and I don't think it's as good as people think it is, unless you are over abusing it and making your deck basically just around this 1 card. Then it's stupid and it shouldn't be played more than 1. Next, 1 Gigantus. I had played with this card at 2, and I just didn't like it at 2. I always saw 2 of it and in our starting hand, and it just made me really mad. I just keeping it 1 is fine. Next is 2 cards. One's really spicy and the other one's okay. First is just the Dragon Destruction Sword Buster. The Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. Okay, so basically you just Union Carrier that onto a Dragon Synchro, and then your opponent can't access the extra deck. It's broken, so I really like it. Next, this is my spicy tech. I've seen no one else play this, but I had spent a long time looking through every card I can for this deck, and it would be Reptilian Lamia. It is a common out of what is that? Rara, R-I-R-A. I've been out of the game for about 2 years before starting this channel, so I can't remember all of the recent sets. But basically, it's a level 2 Dark Tuner, and there's quite a few different Dark Tuners you can use, but this is the one I chose because if it's used as a Synchro material, it makes 2 of your opponent's monsters attacks at 0. So if you're going second and you use this as a Synchro material, not only is it level 2 for like most of the other tuners in the deck, so plus there's no good effect on field, it's just the better effect on sent to grave because it's a Synchro material. So yeah, this is just a way better card for me, in my opinion, than getting another token. And also, there's a surprise in the extra deck because of I'm playing this card. So yeah, that is the monster lineup. I am not playing any of the go go go, dododo, any of that. I see how it is a reliable lineup, and if you took out these to 1 each, you could probably throw in a little bit of the engine and probably take out some of the spells and traps from the deck. But I just prefer not playing them. I like the variant pure more. I've always liked playing my decks more pure. So next is spells. 3 Adamancipator Signs. It's the Monster Reborn of the deck. Basically, you Monster Reborn any rock monster in grave, and if it's an Adamancipator, you get an additional effect to put any level 4 or lower rock monster from your deck and put it on top of the deck. So you can really stack the deck in this this deck, especially with this next card, Laputite. It's the field spell for the deck. A lot of people don't play it, or they play one of. I play the one of because I usually see it enough at the 1. Basically, you can just stack your deck on top of basically top 5 Adamancipators on top of the deck. So next, we play 3 Called by the Grave. Hand traps are definitely bad thing about this deck. So sorry about any talking. Neighbors are a little loud, but yeah, Called by the Grave. I don't personally like playing this card in most of my decks. It's good when you're playing at the local, or definitely online. A lot of people do play hand traps. Most people at my local will play hand traps, but I haven't played this deck at locals, and I have been mainly playing with my friends. We all don't play hand traps. I feel like the meta has come to a point where either people do play hand traps or they just don't. So my friends don't play, so I'll take this out before I play against them. But this is in my main list to be Called by the Grave. Next, 2 Magical Mallets. I play 2 Magical Mallets because I like to put, if you have too many of the Dragite, Leonite, or any of those in your hand, you can just exchange them, get some better cards. Definitely helps out the deck and resource stability and not bricking. It's a rock deck, you're going to brick. 1 Pot of Avarice for the monsters in grave, and then a Monster Reborn. And that's it for spells. Next to the traps. 2 Adamancipator Reliefs. It's the tribute, basically you tribute an Emancipator, target up to, you can tribute any number of them, but basically, if you tribute, say this is an Adamancipator, you can actually set it face down, and then you could tribute it, and then pop two cards on your opponent's side of the field. So this is kind of some back row relief, especially if you just bricked and you had one of those rocks in your hand. You can just set it, or at the end phase, if you have just one lingering, you can set this and just tribute it, pop 2 on your opponent's field. So it definitely does help. I will take it out if I do end up playing the dododo variant. So next, 3 imperms. I feel like anyone who has watched my channel knows my opinion of imperm. I don't like it. It's just the type of card where I always feel like I brick with it if I have it in hand. Going first or second, it just feels like it's unnecessary. But there has been instances where I have won because I do play it. So that is why I am playing it. Plus, most decks now do have to have something like this in the deck. I just feel safer with maybe a strike or a warning. But this is definitely a great card. Just I don't personally like it all that much. Alright, that is the deck. Let's go to the extra deck for this. First, everyone knows you play the 1 needle fiber in the deck. When I first started playing the deck, I didn't put needle fiber in, and that was a mistake. You definitely need this card. Next, 1 Union Carrier. Union Carrier was actually just recently added in. I hadn't been using it for the longest time because Gallic Granite can search for the Block Dragon, and this card, as good as a lot of people are using it for things like Block Dragon and everything, I didn't see the necessity for it. But then I saw the Dragon Buster used with it, and so I'd like to use it more for that than the Block Dragon, but it's still in here for the Block Dragon plays. Next is the 1 Gallic Granite that you can play in there. It's literally just a search for a rock by detach. So what a lot of people use the Yugioh for engine for. And for this, that's it. I don't play any more links or XCs. If I had access to the Bow Goddess or any of the high links, I would be playing them, but I just don't. Plus, I like seeing this deck as a pure. Like I said, I see people only playing a few synchros. I like playing a lot of synchros. It's a synchro based deck. Let it be a synchro based deck. Don't mix it in too much of everything else to make it something that it's not. Next will be the synchros. Formula Synchron. It's the tuner that Needle Fiber can go into. Arclight. Its banish effect is great. Only sucks that it's on both players, but if you can just get rid of it on your turn, or it's a negate as well, your opponent will have to deal with a negate. So it's kind of easy to summon. Next, level 6s, it would be Naturia Barkion. A lot of people were playing Century of Stone at the beginning. I had it in my original first list, but Century of Stone was only used for Beast, and Naturia Beast is a great card, but you don't want to be playing 2 Centuries of Stone that are level 3s in a synchro based deck that you only have 1 target for. So that's why I went with Barkion, not Beast. Next, yes, I am playing 2 Raptite. My reasoning: Raptite gets all your combos started. If you don't have the green gem in your grave, you're not going to get anything done. That's really it. A lot of people I've seen, especially on these new tournaments online, they're playing 1 and they're not even playing the stone. And I don't know how they're not getting through some of these like turn 2s where their boards are destroyed. I just don't think they are. If you get your board destroyed, I feel like this deck has a very good recoverability that they're just missing out on. So having 2 definitely helps. Next, one Leonite. It is more rare now to summon it than it was when I first built the deck. When I first built the deck, you went into the green Leonite, Raptite, and then you went to Leonite because you were trying to get all of the Emancipator's effects off. And this is being able to get your Monster Reborn to your hand. Monster Reborn is not once per turn. So this deck is amazing because of how many how the broken cards in this deck are not once per turn. Next, just the one Dragite. For the longest time, I was playing 2 Dragite because there would be instances where you just don't have the blue Dragite stone in your grave, and your opponent was able to beat over your board with it. So I'd be able to summon it next turn, just in case. But I just realized that at some point you don't need 2. So if you're going to overextend, you just don't need 2 on field. Next will be the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. It is a great card. Literally one of the first things I put in here, not even looking at other people's lists, because I knew you could just make it. And then these next 4 cards are the last 4 cards in the extra deck. One is known, the other 3 are my personal techs, so I'll just do the one known one first. Satellite Warrior. Great card. Synchro summoned, it's level 10. You literally just formula Synchron after you use your Dragite's negate with Needle Fiber. You summon it, pop 2 cards in your opponent's field. Boom. Great card. Just great. Next is the 3 cards that I personally tech in here. Because we're playing level 2 Dark that can be summoned off Needle Fiber on summon. And you can get rid of one of these, just level 6. Or you could just make it with materials. Abeels. And can you imagine summoning that and then using extra monsters, going to Union Carrier, and then Union Carrier, target Beals. You put the Buster Dragon on Beals, making it a 4K Beals. Cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. Just try getting over Beals without going into your extra deck. That's at 4K. Yes, people are going to be putting in the comments, you can just kaiju over it. No one's playing kaijus. I haven't seen one deck profile in the last 3 or 4 months with any kaijus in them. So, yeah, you can kaiju it. No one's playing it. And then the last 2 cards are my personal techs in this deck. They would be taken out just for the better link monsters, but I don't have access to them, so this is where I kind of have a little bit of fun. Geo Mech Magma. And you're going to ask why I play this. Because it's a level 8 tuner synchro. Yes, it is a level 8 tuner synchro. He can summon it. You're like, oh, I don't need the synchron. You don't need to be going into Satellite Warrior or something. It's just not the right situation. You can summon this. So they end their turn. You're not going to Satellite Warrior them. They have back row protection or something. Or they have, monster effect that can't be activated against it or something. They have something preventing you using that. You can literally just go into this and then attack one of their monsters, destroy a monster, and then it destroys 2 back row. It doesn't even have to be back row, but I just feel like this deck has a really bad match against decks that have a lot of back row. So, and then finally, the final Sigma, which is a level 12, easily summonable, because we do play 4 different 8s in the deck. So, since this is a level 8 tuner, you just have to have a level 4 in your hand. Summon this next turn, and this being an extra monster zone, literally it's amazing. It's unaffected by card effects, so it's another synchro that can just get up there. And then just that while this is an extra monster zone, and it battles, opponent's monster, any battle damage is infected is doubled. Doubled. There's been so many times where I've summoned both of these. That's 2 3k beaters. And then next turn you're able to summon one of these. That's an extra like 25 to 3k. It's incredible what this deck can synchro up to. And that is my extra deck. That is my reasoning for some of these cards being played. So yeah, like and subscribe. Let me know how you guys think. Thanks for watching. Enigma out.